your victory is guaranteed. Now, because some of us live a lifestyle of trusting God, we are not surprised when we get the victory. We are never caught off guard when God blesses us, promotes us, sends us better, does for us the good measure, the press, the shaking, and the running. Saying don't make no sense, and you want me to buy just because you say we can folk. No, I'm going to have to draw a line even when it comes to family. Because I recognize in my family that there are people who are not living anything that's worthy for me to heed their counsel or their advice. I love you, I recognize you family, but based on how you living, you really can't tell me nothing about such and such. Until you get up and start living it, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You got to be so bold that even when it comes to family, their opinion about you does not matter if it's not word-based. Talk about me, I'm trying to be the best I can. Talk that I'm trying to do this, that, and the other. You're right, I'm trying to better myself. You cannot let folk put you down because you're trying to do the right thing. But in here you have people who listen to folk just because they family. And you can't do that. You got to draw a line. Even if it's mama, sister, brother. That word tight this morning. But Pastor, if I do that, then they're going to start thinking I'm more than this, that, and that. I don't care what certain folk think. You have to get a deliverance over what people think. There are folk in here writing, if they be honest, there were folk they listened to in their family that they wish to God they would have never gave that person the time of day. So, there's some folk, even when you see them calling, by now you should know they don't want nothing. They don't want nothing. Well, I don't somebody be, I don't know. It might be important. If it's important, they'll leave a message. If it's important, they'll say, look, this emergency, call me right back. Then you'll say, well, let me pray, Lord. I may need to call them back. They sound like emergency. But just when you see certain folk. Now, some folk don't like this because they are, in fact, messy. And they don't like you telling folk, don't listen to them. Who is he up there going to tell folk, don't listen to me? I got something to say. Well, say it to yourself. Say it to yourself. Get in the mirror and say it to yourself. Don't just listen to people because they friend, because you say it's a friend. See, sometimes people you grow up with, you outgrow. You outgrow. And you got to know, yeah, when we were homegirls, I listened to you. But now that I'm striving to be a lady, I don't need to listen to you. Woo! See, if you're single trying to live for God, that's one single person. Hey, I'm cutting you loose. You talking straight up foolishness. Well, I'm going to tell you, girl, you sitting there struggling, this, that, and that. I don't struggle with none of my bill because all I got to do is call so-and-so and that bill get paid. You hear me? You better listen to what I'm saying to my tithes and offering and giving. Girl, give something up and then something get paid. You need to let that fool know from now on we are not tight the way we used to be. And I'm not going to listen to that foolishness that's coming up out of your mouth. Oh, I know I'm right. I don't know where my singles at. You got to be wise as a single person with who you going to listen to. You got to tell that fool you can keep your body. You can stay holy. Oh, God, I wish I had some help in the house. You got to get around singles that's going to talk right. Don't listen to a person that's married that want to give you advice about their marriage, you better know what kind of marriage they got. I never forget, years ago, a man on the job told me, he was an older man. He said, son, you need to go home and put your foot down. And that stuff gonna stop. He said, what's wrong with y'all young? If you go home, put your foot down. See, I didn't tell him that I was wrong about what I was doing, but he said, put your foot. I went home and put my foot down. Found out that day she had a foot too. As soon as I put mine there, she said, well, I'm putting mine down too. Almost tore up my house. Listening to somebody that didn't know what they was talking about. See, when you listen to people, you really don't know what life they really living. That's the reason I got to be careful. If you're going to advise me about my marriage, I got to know what type marriage do you have. Come on, somebody. Well, what they missing? See, if you're always somewhere gossiping, running your mouth, and don't really know what you're talking about in the first place, like it or not, you're a messy person. She hated John the Baptist, the preacher of repentance, because John had told the woman when she was with Herod that she had no business being with him because she was married to his brother. Ooh, tell your neighbor, that's messy. We quiet this morning, Lord. Some of y'all just looking. John called her out about a mess. And a woman is a powerful creature. Yes, she is. Woo! I said a woman got some power. You, oh God! See, some of these brothers, I said a woman got some power. A woman has some influence. Don't put beauty with the influence. Don't put a fine body with the influence. A woman can be a powerful creature. Delilah was so powerful that Samson laid his head in her lap and told that woman things he had no business telling anybody. And she took him down with the stuff he told. Don't tell me no woman ain't powerful. Don't tell me that a woman cannot influence a man, a house. That's the reason the scripture say a woman can tear down her own house with her own hands. But see, some of us, you're women, but you ain't been taught that. That's the reason you're messy. Hard for a good man to love a messy woman. There are men that love everything about certain women except the fact that they're so messy. They start trouble over here. They start trouble over here. They got trouble going on over here. And here's the thing, can't see themselves. It's everybody else. Now they'll tell you what somebody else messy. They just can't see the mess they do. But John called her out. See, a messy mama will raise messy kids. See, and that's the reason some children, when I look at how messy they are, I just look right at mama. And if a man is a wimp, that woman will turn him into being messy. See how that man doing her mess. Jezebel was so messy, and her husband, King Ahab, was such a wimp that messy woman told that man what to do and what not to do. Oh, it's right. It's right up in the house. That means so many homes are dysfunctional. They got messy mamas in them. I'm trying. You've been trying too long. We're going to now have to label you messy. I'm finna move on. John called her out on it. Said it ain't right for you to be with Herod and you was married to his brother. But see, even when you tell a messy person where they wrong, they'll hate you for it. Look, and they'll seek ways to try to hurt you. And the only thing you did was call them out on their mess so they'll get right. Some folk don't like to be called out. I said some folk don't like to be called out. See, John called her to the carpet, if you will. Called her in the open for being messy. See, because some folk, long as they can hide being messy, they think it's okay. Some folk, you have to bring them in the open. Because some folk got this little thing they do where they just try to appear to people as being so wonderful. So loving, so kind, so nice. But they messy. When John called her on it, she never forgot it. She used an opportune day to use her own daughter to dance before grown men that she could get something out of it. See, a messy mama ain't got no problem using their children to do their mess. A messy mama would teach children to lie for. Who is that? Tell him I ain't here. Mama say she ain't here. Mama, I told him. Got teach kids to lie for. If somebody asks you, that's your mama, uncle. Being messy. You got mamas so messy they date men who don't want them. They want your daughter. But you so messy that you love the attention. See, a messy mama don't care who she put around her children. Now, we won't admit it, but some of us got jacked up thinking today because of messy mamas. She went in there and danced the house down. Herod said, whatever you want, up to half the kingdom, I'll give it to you. So the girl went to ask mama for some advice. Tell your neighbor, that's jacked up. When a young girl cannot go to her mama for good advice, that's jacked up. Y'all don't think so? When a child can't even go to their own parents for some sound advice, something healthy, something beneficial, something is wrong. When we're raising children that can't go to their parents for good advice. She went to her mama, and her mama gave her some evil advice. Have the preacher killed. Being messy. Take note. Messy folk damage themselves and others. If you messy, you not only hurting yourself, but you hurting somebody else too. People are being hurt. Tell your neighbor, that's when you can't listen to everybody.